Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I recently went shopping and I picked up a handful of Chaos Legion cards that I thought specifically worked really well with my deck and I thought were extremely underrated. So I'm going to run through them today and I'm going to give you a little bit of the sort of thinking behind them and why I think they specifically worked with my deck. So some of these cards won't be relevant for you for a couple of reasons. One, I'm buying cards for the gold level. They're not always all maxed out for gold, and I'll explain why I don't necessarily max them out as I talk about them. But, they might have abilities not available to you at bronze or silver. So, one, maybe they're not as useful below that level, and I'll talk about that when we get to them. Another reason might be because your deck is built differently than mine. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of deck building strategy. And while some of these specific cards might not be, useful to you in the same context that they're useful to me, I'm hoping this conversation and seeing my thought process as I talk about these cards and how I think about building my deck, you can take some of those principles and apply them to your own deck building. So let's get into it. Card number 1 and 2 are very similar and play similar roles for me. They're not very similar, but I bought them for the same reason. And both of them were to maximize Grum at gold. So I'm going to go to my cards, owned. The first one is, a lot of people are talking about this card. It's the Scavo Hireling. So I'm going to show you a battle with Scavo and the Flamesmith, which is going to be the second card next. The Scavo actually isn't in the battle I'm going to show you. I just got these, so I haven't fully experimented with them. I'm just giving you sort of my raw thought process. Basically, I wanted to get a Scavo to level 6 so we could pick up the camo. In gold, I can't get the slow. If I could get the slow, I would 100%, you know me, I love my speed. I would max him all the way out. But for me, the difference between this Scavo with 3 speed and 4 health and this Scavo with 4 speed and 5 health isn't that big of a deal given the camouflage, right? If he didn't have camouflage, this would matter. Increased dodgeability, quicker repair. It would help him stay alive longer and do the repair quicker. But with the camouflage, I'm not really worried about him dying. Unless, of course, there's like blast or stuff like that, which, every card's going to have its weakness. But for me, getting the camo was big because I can just stick him in the back and he's constantly repairing Grum, who, again, remember, has Void and Void armor. So magic is just hitting his armor over and over and over again. So it's just a way for me, now that I've found myself using Grum, I have him maxed out for gold. I'm using Grum more frequently. So I want to maximize Grum for myself. And how can I make sure Grum is in the best place to win matches for me? And that's through adding a support card like Scavo. And then number 2 on my list, which I already hinted at, is the Flamesmith. So I added him for very similar reasons. Again, only level 6, which is the lowest level of gold. I could get him to level 8, which I might do at some point because given his attack, he doesn't have camo, the extra health and extra speed that I get is certainly useful. But for an extra sort of 120 cards at this moment with the capital that I have and I'm accumulating packs and even some vouchers, I felt it was best just to get it to level 6 and that's fine. So same reason with the repair, all about keeping Grum alive. And I'll show you a battle with the Flamesmith next that will help explain it. Also the Shatter. So he's faster than Grum to start. And one of Grum's biggest problems and why sort of Quid Yuff went through the roof when Grum was released was that, if he's mashing into 1 armor, he's less useful, right? If he has a couple bloodlusts and all of a sudden his attack's at 7, 8, 9, and your opponent has 1 armor, it's still only going to do the 1 because he doesn't have piercing. But early on, Flamesmith is going to go before Grum in the normal speed matches because of the 3. And with his Shatter, he's going to completely destroy my opponent's tank's shield. I don't think you see this in the match I'm going to show you, but it's just part of the reason why I bought him. But mostly it's the repair and the The 3 damage for 7 mana isn't that great. He has low health. The shield helps for survivability and decent speed, but it's really the repair. And just a little insight into the deck building process here. My main tank for fire, and I still use him a lot, used to be, where is he? Magnor, right? So no shield. He has the Enrage, the Trample, the Taunt, really powerful monster. But I didn't have a need for these repair monsters because he doesn't have the shield, right? So I focused more of my time and capital on a card like Scavo Hireling. I wanted to make sure that Magnor was cleansed. I wanted to slow the opponent because when Magnor gets his high speed when he's enraged, he becomes a little hard to hit. So I prioritized different cards when it came to keeping Magnor alive than I did when I am now trying to keep, where is he? Grum alive, right? Like, having this void armor makes the shields that much more powerful, so I want to make sure I'm replenishing his shields as frequently as I possibly can. Alright, let's show that battle real quick. It's only with the Flamesmith. I didn't fit, I don't remember exactly why, but I didn't fit the Scavo Hireling into this battle. And keep it on 2 times speed. My opponent's overmatched, so we probably would have won without the Flamesmith repairing him, but you can just see how powerful it is every single turn for his shields to be back. Especially think about the Ancient Lich here, who gets the Life Leech. Life Leech doesn't work on shield for monsters that have void armor. See, he just hit him for 2, he didn't gain any more health. So I'm completely removing that ability by constantly having shield being replenished. So like now, right? Shield back. And the void also helps because they're 1 magic monsters aren't going to do anything. But look how powerful Grum gets. It's all about just keeping him alive. You know, they're hitting him a bunch, not doing any damage, but shield back. And the Ancient Lich can never use his Life Leech ability. And now Grum just goes to work with Bloodlust. He gets pretty insane in this because it's also the Enrage. I think at the end he ends with a 14 attack. And as he's gaining shield, right? So like he starts with 5, but every time he kills someone, Bloodlust gives him an extra shield. The Flamesmith has more to repair. So you'll see, I think he ends with 7 shield at the end, and the Flamesmith keeps putting it on him. Yeah, watch right here. I think it's 14 attack, 7 shield. Yeah, look at that, 7 shield. So yeah, Grum's a really powerful monster, but he has some weaknesses, and you just really need to keep him alive for as long as you can. So my first 2 purchases on the list were mainly for maximizing Grum. Again, if you don't have Grum, or you don't use Grum, or you don't like Grum, these cards might not be necessary to you, right? The Scavo Hireling at lower levels is a really good option because he always has the repair. He won't have the camouflage, so he's more vulnerable, but he can certainly still be useful, right? And I mean, even with the starter deck, I would probably level him up as much as your summoners will allow, just because, you know, the higher his speed, the quicker he does the repair, and the more survivability he does have when he comes under fire. But, you know, it's not as important as getting the camo. So if you can't get the camo, he's more just a support monster, you know, regardless. But the Flamesmith, if you're under gold, specifically, he probably doesn't matter that much to you because this is where he gets the armor repair. And I mean, this is nice. The Shatter is helpful with Grum, but just the repair makes him that much better. But it's all about prioritizing your tank. So if I'm going to be using Grum, those are the types of cards I want to think about adding. So number 3 on the list of cards I just purchased is the Orc Sergeant. Level 6 again, so I can play commons up to level 8, but this one only level 6. Just wanted to get the Inspire for now. Same thing as the Flamesmith. You know, the extra speed and the extra health at 8 is going to be helpful, and eventually I want to prioritize that. But for now, Inspire is sort of the main reason why I think the Orc Sergeant is undervalued a little bit. So right now, I basically play 2 types of Earth decks. The first is obviously Magic, right? So like, we have Obsidian. Where is she? Let's just do Summoner so I can find her. I'll let you all know who Obsidian is. We have Obsidian at level 6 with the +1 magic. So I run a lot of magic-based teams, specifically in the slow rule sets. Like this guy has 1 speed. Chimer Princess is a great 2 healer with 2 speed. She actually gets to heal at silver too. I'd really look into this card. But to get the 2 magic with the heal at 2 mana. Where are the other slowest? Sporcerer gets rid of armor, 1 speed, 2 magic. Then all of these guys down here. Kron slow, Jin Bilka slow, Queen Mycelia slow. And then the new cards. I haven't gotten Spirit Hoarder to the next level with the blind yet, but slow with the magic. Dr. Bright slow with the magic. So Earth has a really great slow magic team, but I think it has a really underrated fast melee team. And I run this team specifically with, and it's kind of low mana, but I run this team specifically with Kitty. So right here, I give everyone the 2+ speed. And what I'll try to do is start with Grum in the front. And we've talked about some of this before. Start with Grum. Grund. Grum and Grund. This one's Grund. Then if I have the mana, as I've talked about, I will put the Slip Spawn in the last position to soak up some damage and everyone focuses on him. But then there's a lot of nice little melee attackers here. So Goblin Thief is a great one. The 3 mana for 4. Decent speed. I don't have him leveled up yet all the way. I can play him here. I'll probably do this just for the extra speed, but even here, he's a very, very powerful card. There's some of the new cards that are also pretty valuable. So like the Venare Scout is another one I don't have leveled up that I'm going to level up to help with this strategy. I'm going to get him with the dodge. It'll just help the survivability. Again, this is a nice little, with the Orc Sergeant, we'll have 3 attack for 3 mana. What else? The Venare Knifer is another good one to toss in the back, has the backfire. You know, if you don't have as much mana to fit in Grund, this is an option. There's a lot of like little good melee monsters that when I combined with the Orc Sergeant to give this boost, it creates like a really powerful team. I'm trying to look if anyone else sticks out. But it's mainly the Grunt, because if you get the Grunt doing 5 damage with the trample at gold, it just becomes even more insane than it already is. And it works well with some of the neutrals, right? So let me go to own, because I don't own that many neutrals. Uraeus, 3 mana, will get the 3 attack. Warchang will get an extra attack in the matches where melee can attack from anywhere. Obviously Sandworm is a beast. So it's a really viable, I think, strategy that not a lot of people are talking about. And obviously I don't want to speculate on what the legendary Earth Chaos Summoner is going to be, but you know, it's probably not going to be magic based because we just got that. There's already a ranged, an old Earth ranged summoner. Prince Ren, I believe his name is. I don't have him, obviously. He's very, very powerful, expensive card. So we might see something melee based. And, you know, that's pure speculation. I bought it because I think this Earth lineup has understated sort of melee monsters that I think can be unlocked and taken advantage of, specifically with Kitty right now. I wouldn't play this lineup with my Obsidian because I'd rather take advantage of the magic boost. But yeah, so another thing you can think about is sort of underrated lineups and abilities that right now seem off meta that could eventually become meta. And I think Melee Earth has some weird, like the Nectar Queen is really powerful. Whereas the Unicorn Mustang is one of my favorite tanks. You know, this card's really powerful. 4 melee, 4 speed, 12 health. Kitty gets it to 6 speed. Orc Sergeant gets it to 5 attack. Really good magic damage. Avoiding magic damage. So it's a really powerful melee card. So I'm sort of just speculating on this one, thinking, you know, what if? All right, number 4. This one doesn't require a ton of explanation. It's a 1 mana healer. I was buying them up slowly over time and combining them, which is why you see I have some up for sale. And then someone put up the exact 6 that I need, this exact 100 level 6 BCX that I needed to get the heal. So I just bought that for really cheap and figured I would sell these while I could. They're pretty low in terms of the per BCX price, so they're there if you want them. But basically, I kind of overlooked that this card was a 1 mana healer. And I think it synergizes really well with Kelia, giving it the shield, right? Because that's extra protection for it. Has the flying, so for earthquake battles, it stays alive. And, you know, if the other team has an opportunity, 1, they're going to hit the shield with Kelia. And 2, the flying could help you dodge at least 1. It doesn't have great speed, but for 1 mana, think about the times that you just toss in a random card for 1 mana. Whether it be, you know, there's some decent 1 mana cards here now. But you could have a 1 mana healer that flies, right? Or you can toss this guy in there. The 2 damage for 1 mana is obviously great. But you don't want to lead him with your tank, right? Like, what is he going to do for you? Melee can attack from anywhere, I see it, right? That becomes viable because all of a sudden you're hitting a 1 mana card hitting for 2 from the back. But a 1 mana healer, you can basically put him in any single match. Synergizes well with Bakjira, right? If you have Bakjira up front and Albatross somewhere in the back, Bakjira is going to get a double heal. And there's another healer in water too. So you can have some triple heal strategies with this by unlocking the sort of 1 mana healer. It's not the cheapest, but I don't see it run that often. And I just feel like it's a card you can play in basically any lineup and it's going to be extremely useful for you. And again, the shield from Kelia just makes it that much more better. All right, and then the last card is, I'm actually not done buying this one yet because it's not like a necessity for me based on the decks I like to run with Death, which are like really fast, taking advantage of the Nightmare. Really what I'll do a lot of the times is Nightmare. If I can do Kitty, I'll do Kitty. But Nightmare, the new rewards card that just dropped, where is she? Lyra for the plus speed. I'll then run Supply Runner for the plus speed. He's another guy. He gets speed in the silver level. I would highly suggest getting this card. Synergizes really well with General Sloan, giving him the extra archery. And the swiftness is just great. And you know I love speed. But this last card's a 1 speed monster that I'm buying. And it is the, where'd it go? The Gorgolodon. And now again, I normally don't go after really slow monsters, but 1, it has the True Strike. So even though it's going to go last, I know I don't have to deal with the misses. And you can see I'm still buying it. I'm going to try to get it to level 5. I have a long way to go. But the Enrage is why I'm here. So I run a lot of fast, low damage death teams. That's all about survivability, and we slowly wear you out over time. And I'm really missing like a big, you know, brawly attacker that can, you know, just land huge amounts of damage. Like, I don't really have one. I know they exist, but I personally don't have one. And there's not a ton of them in the modern format, except for this guy right here. I don't have to play him in the first position, right? So he doesn't have to take a lot of damage right away. So he's a secondary tank for me. And in matches where we're facing Blast or Poison and he can hit that in Rage, he's going to be doing 8 damage from the second position. So it synergizes really well with my Nightmare, who stays alive a really long time through his speed and the phase so we can dodge magic. And that's going to allow Gorgolodon to sit in the second position and just lay massive amounts of damage onto my opponent's frontline tank. It's not like, again, he doesn't truly fit what I'm doing right now. I think adding him is just going to give me some more diversity in what I can play with Death and just get more damage on the board. Because I found that's my biggest problem with some of my Death lineups is I'm not getting enough damage out there. You know, and this guy single-handedly solves that. So I'm adding him as I go. I hope you guys don't bid him up because of this video. Don't think I have enough viewers to do that, but who knows. But this is sort of the last card I'm in the process of adding, and I'm planned to get to this level. I mean, even at silver, you can play him at level 3. He's great. I mean, picking up one of him at bronze, I think is also good. you're getting 12 health and 3 attack from the second position. So, you know, he's attacking for you throughout the entire match. He's eventually going to slip into the first position once your tank dies, and he's going to give you a meat shield of 12. So in any high mana death matches in bronze, I still think he's viable. I think he's viable at any levels. You'll have to deal with the misses until you get to silver. I mean, once I get the True Strike, that's when, I mean, as you can see, I immediately bought him to the point where I got the True Strike, because I don't play him a lot now until he gets the Enrage, but I still have sprinkled him in a little bit. I just don't want to deal with the misses. That's why I, you know, prioritize speed. But I think this guy is going to specifically work really well with my death deck, which is all about survivability. He'll be someone who can lay a huge amounts of damage. All right, and I think that about covers it. So those are the 5 cards that I've recently purchased. And, you know, I gave you some of my reasons and some deck building strategies and some of the stuff I'm thinking about. I hope this information is helpful. Again, you know, these specific cards might not be applicable to your league or the current state of your deck. So, you know, it's more about the strategies and understanding my line of thinking and how I go about building my teams that I hope is the useful information for you. I'd love to hear what you think about these cards, so feel free to drop a comment below. I try to get back to everyone as quickly as I can. I'm on Twitter, Hawks21 Gaming. I've had a few people reach out. We've had some really great conversations about the game. I'm there and available, so feel free. And if you liked the video or enjoyed the content or learned anything, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, comment. All of it helps, and will help push this channel forward. I really appreciate you guys being here. Have a great day.